What if a dagger, a stranger, and a ride down a dusty road somehow aligned to predict a deadly terrorist attack? Sounds like a movie plot, right? Except this one's real. And it happened to a man who's kicked in more doors than most of us have opened in our lives. Chris, a seasoned ex-military operator with over 1,000 high-risk missions under his belt, had no idea that one ordinary day would flip his understanding of fate on its head. No drills, no orders, no backup, just instinct and something else he still can't explain. It started like any normal day, until it wasn't.
Pulls out this big, dagger, and I just smile and say, "You're not going to try and kill me with that, are you?" He's like, "Chris, may God bless you many times this day."
Chris was driving down a remote road in Africa when he saw a man walking alone. Something about him felt off, but not dangerous. Chris doesn't usually pick up strangers, especially not in unfamiliar terrain. But that day, something compelled him to stop. He didn't just slow down, he offered a ride. The man climbed in with a big smile, grateful, polite, and oddly familiar. They started talking, names, birthdays. Turns out, they were both born in September 1975. Same age, same month. The guy even laughed and said, "That's a good sign." Chris brushed it off as a weird coincidence, but it wouldn't be the last.
I do something that I shouldn't have done. Just common sense, nothing to do with drills, procedures. I stopped my vehicle, put the window down and say, hey buddy, do you want a lift? Something compelled me to pick him up, to say, do you want a lift? And why I did that, I would not have normally done that. But something compelled me to do that. So a big smile, and he runs over and gets into the car. Start driving off, and he's like, thank you so much for this. What's your name? I'm like, it's Chris. And he's like, tells me his name. And then he looks and says, how old are you? I'm 43. He goes, I'm 43. So when were you born? I said, September. He said, I was born in September. What day were you born? And I said, 15th. He's like, I don't know what day I was born, but this is a good sign, because that means in September 1975, Chris and his name were both born.
As they continued driving, the man casually reached into his pocket. Now, if you're Chris, combat-trained, situationally aware, this is usually a red flag. But his internal alarm? Silent. No threat, no tension, just curiosity. Then the man pulled out a dagger. Not just any dagger, a curved, double-tipped blade. Like something out of an ancient ritual. Chris didn't panic. He just smiled and joked. "You're not gonna try to kill me with that, are you?" The man laughed and said, No, it's not for you. This is for the demons I might run into on the road. You never know what's out here. Chris laughed too, but in the back of his mind, something didn't sit right. A blade with two tips? That wasn't standard even in superstitious regions. And this guy wasn't acting, he believed it.
And he chuckles. He's like, he says some of the stuff I can't really recall. Driving a bit further, and he reaches into his pocket. My internal spider sense is not triggered here. I don't feel threatened or anything. And he pulls out this big dagger, and it's an odd dagger. And what I found was odd was curved, but it had a double tip, so it had two tips at the end, which I'd never seen. And I just smile and say, "You're not going to try and kill me with that, are you?" And he's like, "No, I'm not going to kill you. This is I carry this when I'm traveling on this road in case I come across any demons or evil spirits. It comes in very handy." And he chuckles to himself and puts it away.
Soon, they approached a small African village. The man politely asked to be dropped off just outside, not inside. Odd again. But Chris didn't question it. He pulled over. The car stopped. The door opened. And then it happened. The man stepped out, and the moment his foot touched the ground, his face changed. Not physically, but emotionally. The smiling, joking demeanor vanished. In its place was something intense, something knowing. He turned to Chris and said just one word, "Chris." It hit him like a sonic boom to the chest. Not loud, but deafening. Not threatening, but powerful. The way he said it, it felt like a command, a prophecy, a message, something deeper than sound. Chris, may God bless you many times this day. Then, just as quickly, the man's face snapped back to normal, friendly, casual. He said thank you, closed the door, and walked off toward the village. Chris drove away, trying to shake the feeling. But something inside him had shifted.
And then like that, his face just snapped out of it, and he's like, thank you, thanks. Back in his normal voice, normal face. And he closed the door, and I drove off. And I got about 150 yards down the road, I couldn't see him again. I think he might have just gone into a house or a hut or whatever. And I kind of thought that was odd. 30 hours later, after the most remarkable day of my life, I came to think about it a lot more.
What happened next wasn't just strange, it was impossible to ignore. Everything started aligning perfectly. Chris got a haircut, then lunch, then a shower. Not exactly a movie montage, but the timing, uncanny. Every second seemed orchestrated. Delays he didn't run into, detours he didn't take. Everything putting him in exactly the right place, at exactly the right time. 30 hours later, the world around him erupted. Terrorists launched an attack on the Dusit D2 hotel complex in Nairobi. A planned, coordinated assault. Gunmen, grenades, chaos. And Chris was home, showered, alert, phone in hand.
What happened?
Well, then, a few hours later, 5 terrorists attacked the Dusit D2 hotel complex. 5 hours there, so. But everything, the strange thing, not the strange thing, but traditionally I would see myself as unlucky. And if someone had said, this is going to happen on your watch, I'd normally say, well, I'm probably going to be on leave, somewhere else, not available, don't hear about it. But from the moment I dropped that man off, and he said, may God bless you many times this day, everything was perfect. I got my hair cut. I went and got my hair cut after that. Had a haircut. I then had lunch. I then got home, had a shower. And again, I'm not going to go into detail of the incident, but every second counted. And if anything then was off, everything was just perfect. And then not only perfect, but the whole, everything else was just like, yeah.
What were you doing when the incident kicked off?
I just got out of the shower.
A call came in. It was a friend. Chris, there's a complex attack. I'm inside. I'm not armed. You've got to come. No one ordered Chris to go. No mission briefing. No backup on standby. He just went. He didn't know the layout, had never even been there before. But somehow it didn't matter. His sat-nav got him there fast. No traffic, no wrong turns. Just a clear path to the fire. Outside the complex, Chris asked around, are special forces inside? Is anyone in there? The answer, no, no one. People were trapped, and no help was coming. A woman's scream rang out, followed by gunfire. It wasn't a movie. It was real, and someone had just been killed. Chris didn't wait. He entered the building, alone.
How did you hear about it?
A friend of mine who was in the complex called me and was like, Chris, there's a complex attack going on. I'm not armed. I'm laying low in my office. You got to come down here. So I'm on my way. I didn't know where it was. I'd never been there before. Put it in my sat-nav and went and responded.
And then something switched. Chris describes it as unlocking a superpower. His vision felt sharper, his hearing clearer, his movements faster, more deliberate. It was like his body had dialed into a frequency he didn't know existed. A flow state, a hyper-awareness. Total control in the middle of chaos. He won't say exactly what he did in there. Some of it is too sensitive. Some of it may be too unbelievable. But he confirms one thing. It became a team effort. Locals joined in. Kenyans, brave, determined, helped however they could. Reports later claimed he saved up to 700 people that day. 700. Whether it was exactly that number or not, the fact remains. Lives were saved because Chris went in, because he was there at the right moment, in the right state of mind. And that all started with a single decision. to pick up a stranger with a dagger and a strange smile. To this day, Chris still doesn't know what pushed him to stop. It wasn't logic, it wasn't protocol, it was something else, a pull, a gut feeling, or maybe a whisper from something higher. The dagger, the double birth date, the eerie blessing. The man whose voice wasn't loud, but left an echo in his soul. Some say it was all just coincidence, right place, right time. Others, they believe something supernatural was at play, that the man wasn't just a hitchhiker, but a messenger, a guardian, a piece in a cosmic puzzle. Chris never saw him again, but one thing's for sure. That day, something unlocked inside him, and whatever it was, it helped him do the unthinkable. So what do you believe? Was it intuition or intervention? Because for Chris, the day he stopped on that road wasn't the beginning of a strange story. It was the moment fate punched in, and everything after that was history.